Mhm.
Hey, have a seat.
Listen, first of all, we are live already, so just
Oh,
letting you
hi guys.
okay. Um, um, Definitely live on a couple different platforms. Let me get this. So yeah. So what's up, everybody? Ooh, let me get my voice together. All right. What's up, everybody? This is Wesley Hamilton. Yeah, this is my show, Out of the Shadows. Really just want to highlight real stories of individuals that I believe are inspiring me and really doing things that are shifting the world, whether it's within their community or, rather social media, any way that you're making an impact. I just want to be able to highlight that. And so today I'm bringing to you a good friend of mine, Christina Perry. She is definitely the founder of BodyLove, which we'll get really in depth to that. Christina is from Kansas City, Missouri. So of course I'm definitely highlighting a lot of hometown people. The diamonds in the rough. But Christina has an amazing story and has shaped her story in a way that it is now impacting a lot of women's lives, and even though it's impacting women on all different platforms, like I think her really being invested into the communities that she come from has really just been a reason why the story has to come out. So thank you, Christina, for being here and joining me.
Thank you for having me.
I love it. No, so I'm just gonna dive right in, like body love, right? Like, what's the story behind it? What's the inspiration for body love?
Um, the inspiration for body love. So, I did not come from like a healthy environment in any means, like as far as like physical health, fitness, safety, whatsoever. So I didn't really have a good understanding of what health meant. And I kind of went on the journey of myself trying to figure out what self love is, and it led me to fitness. And so that's where body love kind of came from, is just truly showing love, learning how to show love to my body.
Mm. Oh, oh. Oh man, that's good. Learning how to show love to my body. Um, what ways do you do that?
Well, it started out with just trying to exercise, trying to do a little bit better every single day. Honestly, I didn't know what I was doing. So I just sought out to friends that I knew. One of my best friends, she was in the gym and just like, hey, can I come work out with you? Didn't know what the hell I was doing. But I was like, we're going to try something because, so just to give you a little background, so I have asthma. I've had asthma my entire life. And it's just really took a toll on my health, like all my life. Like just trying to ignore it, using inhalers or prednisone, whatever the doctors gave me to try to strengthen my lungs. Exercise was never even given as an option. Like it was never presented to me like, hey, maybe you should actually exercise your lungs so that you can use them better. Like you have to work. It's not a muscle, but you do have to work out your muscles so they can be worked fully. I wasn't using my lungs properly, so anytime I tried to, it was a struggle. So once I started working out, started trying to eat a little bit better, I started seeing little changes. But on top of that, I started actually stopping. I didn't have to use an inhaler anymore. I didn't have to carry around a breathing machine. I went like a whole year without pneumonia or bronchitis. Like just noticing little stuff like that. And it's like, that's crazy that the doctor never said, hey, why don't you just start working out or just walk or just run or just try this? So that's what it looked like initially. Was just a little bit each day to where it's now evolved into other people seeing what I'm doing and they're seeking me out for help. So it just kind of bloomed into this community.
I'm, I'm only laughing because if anyone don't know, Christina is definitely a dog mom. Miss Bella in the back is making her appearance, just so everybody know. So we are definitely dog friendly. So if you hear a little bark here and there, that's just definitely Bella making a statement. Um, no, like so the inspiration behind it, sounds like, it's your driving force. And of course, like for me having something similar of not having the resources or being really told, that exercise and things can actually help. And then finding out that once I started doing it, it actually changed things for me and made me better. Life just started to seem different, right? So like now I see, like, of course, like for you, I remember, I think it was, the year that you decided to actually get into, making body love a thing, right? Like, and like just like shifting your whole everything, right? Like you left your job. I
My
don't remember,
life.
like, so it's just kind of like talking about that, and if I'm not mistaken, it was around the pandemic. So yeah, like what made you like really say, okay, well, yeah, I want to love my body more, but now I really want to help other people, and I can't do it actually working this 9 to 5. I have to apply myself and really invest in this. Like, what definitely was like that shift, and like what's driving you to do it now?
Well, the initial shift was fuck this job. That honestly was it. But I think with it was the pandemic is really what like kick started everything, which is crazy because that is probably the worst time to ever start it. And I just for the record, I did it without a PPP. Just for the record, self funded. Um, but I think that time off from work because everything shut down. We know everything shut down. So there was nothing to do but what I loved doing, which was working out, eating healthy. And I mean, we did that every single day during the pandemic. Like we was literally working out probably 4 hours every day because there was nothing else to do. So with finding that love for it and seeing how freeing and how good I felt, there was like it was no option but to do that. Like it was like I cannot go back to doing what I was doing before. You don't it's almost like you don't miss a good thing until it's gone. In this case, it was like I didn't know that I was missing this good thing until it was presented to me. And it was like, okay, now that I've gotten that taste of it, I'm never going back. Like it was a no-brainer.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's the thing. You get a taste of um for something that is freeing. Yeah, there's a lot of work behind it, but yeah, it tastes good. It tastes good to go after something and like really make that initial investment into it. But why not serve everybody? Why women?
Well, there's many many reasons why. The reason why I service women particularly, well, first and foremost, I'm a woman and I'm a black woman. I feel like the knowledge that would or the lack of knowledge around health and fitness in the black female community, particularly in Kansas City, I can't speak for other cities. It's non-existent. Like there are personal trainers out here, there's gyms, there's all this, but there's never any emphasis or importance on why we need to do this. There's never any emphasis on the community of actually having a community of people that support you in doing it or even the health reasons behind it. It's always been just kind of look at me. And so I was looking at other people, but I didn't see anybody that I could relate to. Everyone that I know that was in the fitness and health community, they started out that way. They played sports, they ran track, they did basketball. They've always been into that community. And it kind of it's discouraging and very intimidating for someone that does not come from that background because it's almost like you feel like it's impossible, especially starting at a later point in life.
Mm.
So I didn't start it till I was in my 30s is when I started. I went 30 years without really doing shit. So once you get there, it's like, oh, I feel like I'm too old or the damage is already done. And so I'm trying to show people like, no, it's never too late. Like you may not be able to achieve your dream body if you're not disciplined enough, but you can be healthier. You can look a little bit better. You can feel better. That's really the point of what I do. It's not for you to be a bodybuilder. It's for you to be able to sustain and live a good life.
Mm. Oh, that's even, a lot of people might not understand the difference in that of like, the fast fitness lifestyle compared to the long term, the longevity. Like love your body for what it is, but be consistent with making you have a better quality of life, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
that's, I mean, in a lot of ways, I think that's why we connect is because, there was lack of representation in fitness for people with disabilities. And I think that was like my driving force of being that and getting into that and finding how good it was. It's like, man, I'm not even really too much worried about walking. And that's my flaw, right? At least it's a flaw for people that don't understand the things that I can do. And so it's kind of like, yeah, like being able to embrace everything everything within you, looking in the mirror and being proud that you're working on yourself, not, don't have this vision of this, like you can work to a goal, but it's like that fast, let me get this in like the summertime.
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest thing, like the summertime body. I think that's the wrong way to really speak about things, when it comes to fitness, because now everybody's rushing. But when you think about that, and you're talking about loving your body, and you have this, this force to impact women, and the reason why, but you're also a mother, right? And so, like, so what has like this journey in the last few years have actually helped you even when it comes to parenting, and like what are your goals, um, to like be able to show your child, what you're doing, like what's the impact you're trying to create just as a parent and doing what you're doing.
Well, that's funny that you say that because my daughter is anti-health. um, I think kids just don't want to do what what they see their parents doing. They want to be different and live their own life, which I respect it. But I do encourage her to do better. So, like, we don't eat out all the time. We try to make healthier choices at home. I mean, I still let her indulge here and there, McDonald's stuff that she wants to have. Because she's a kid, I'm not going to deprive her of that. But I do try to teach her everything is okay in moderation. Like, you still have to eat your veggies. You still need to be somewhat active. You still need to do stuff. And I try to do it from the standpoint of health because my daughter is very skinny, or I won't say skinny, but she's in shape. She's not overweight or anything like that. So she also looks at what society sees as healthy and she's like, I'm fine. I don't need to do that. I'm not fat. And I'm just like, okay, well, it's not about that. Do you know the rate of, childhood diabetes? Like, there's so many different ailments that you can cause to have that you could prevent from just making better choices. And I was like, yeah, it may not be a factor right now, but a lot of us didn't think it was going to be a factor when we were kids. And then once you hit 30 and you are on all these medications, it's a buildup over time of the bad habits that you've had that you didn't know any better. I'm like, so I'm trying to show you different. So I do encourage kids. Like when I hold my classes, I always have kids free. Anybody 18 and under can come for free, and they love it. My daughter's probably the only one that doesn't. So I do try to incorporate that into my parenting skills, to give like flashback. So what was the final straw for me to get into shape? Well, besides the last time I got pneumonia, is I remember specifically my daughter was probably like 5 or 6, and we went to Worlds of Fun / Oceans of Fun. I'm telling you, I was fighting for my life the next day after being at World's Fun and Oceans of Fun the whole day. Like I felt like somebody beat my ass from just swimming, from walking. Like my feet hurt so bad. I was so out of breath, so winded. And at this time, I was like 27.
Mm.
There is no reason why I should be feeling like that at 27. And I was like, okay, you have to make a change, because how are you going to keep up with your child? And you can't, because you are just literally out of shape. Like, you're unhealthy for sure. You can see that. So that
Mm.
was like the reality check for me, was like, I shouldn't be feeling like this from walking. Like, no.
No. Oh, that's good. That's good. All right. Well, we're gonna take the hats off real quick, like all the good business and all of that. Like the show is called Out of the Shadows for a reason,
Oh,
right?
shit.
Like before before these last few years of you like really embracing your new, right? Um like being more visual in the world. Not saying that you haven't, right? Like you've always been engaged in social media, but you're making this impact. People see you now. And what I found, at least from my platform, and kind of just like, yeah, like my platform just grew overnight in a sense, right? Like, and so what I've learned is it always makes me feel uncomfortable when my whole truth doesn't come out, right? Like, and so um the things that I would want people to know so much about me, that my story is relatable to them, because impact comes from that relation, right? Like how you said, like there was no representation, so I had to create it, right? But like, what is something that you will always want people to know about you? Like, this is going to be my truth that I hold because I own that. But you can't take that away from me, right? Like, that's that. Like, for me, and I give you a good example, like, for me, it's the story before I got shot and paralyzed. It's like who I was before my injury. Like, my life became good after my injury. But for 24 years, I was this different person. But that made me into who I am now, because I look back and say I can be better than him, right? Like I don't regret him because that's all I knew, but I can be better than him. And so nobody can ever take that away, because I was never perfect and I'm still not, right? So like that's the out of the shadows. Like what was the imperfections that you still want people to understand that that's what you grew from?
Huh? So many. um, we're just gonna filter out the meat. Um, I would say what I want people to understand about me, and I preach it all the time, is that I'm regular. Like, people, for some reason, think that when you make it to a certain level, or you're seen as more of a valuable person, that you're special, or that you did something different. And I can assure you, I ain't did shit different. I went to Purcell. I'm from Kansas City. I'm from the like the inner city, not the suburbs. Um, People knew, like, when people see me, they knew me. They know like who my child's father is. I was single mother, young. I did graduate, never finished college. Like, I probably did every single thing wrong. And I really do feel like that made me who I am. And it also allows me to give people more grace when they get frustrated, when they get upset. It's like, okay, well, there's nothing you could tell me that I haven't already done or experienced or been through, and still kept going. So it's just like, come on, like, go ahead and cry it out, and we about to get back to it. So I would say that that's something that I definitely want people to understand about me, is that I done been through it all, like deaths, drug life, street life, gang life, poverty, living with roaches. Like, I done been through it all. And when you can go through everything and still come out on top, like, I really do feel like, well, I'm not even gonna say on top, because I don't feel like I'm on top, but I do feel like I'm above water. So if you can
Mm.
stay above water regardless of the situation, you're gonna be okay. And I wish a lot of people saw that.
Oh, I love that. Yeah. Um, yeah, like you like you said, you're a regular person, right? Like I always tell people, like, what is normal when everybody's trying to reach something that's not? And your story, that part of your story becomes more relatable. There's people that's caught up in a lifestyle because that's all they know. And the good thing is that when they see your life and what you're doing, them to know that you came from the background, you walked the same communities, you did the same things and made the same choices. Like life is about choices, and growing up, I think we're learning, right? Like I always tell people now, and I'm like, I'm 35, and when I think about it, you see all these different older people. Some people are making moves until they're 60, 70. But when you come from a black community, you think everything has to come quick, right? Because death comes so quick in our community. So we got to do everything fast. There's no longevity or no steps to things. So, like when you see people living these certain lifestyles, they're living these fast lifestyles, and so for me, I'm like, to be able to see 35 and to know that I can have another 35 years, I can't sit there and focus so much on the mistakes that I've made. I just have to grow from them. But I have to share that story, because if not, then I'm sitting in a room surrounded by people that look at these age groups and see them differently, because they've basically hid their own story of that used to be them, right? Like, and so it's like owning your story, owning your truth is being able to not judge people anymore. Like when you stop judging people, it's because, like you just said, it's like, I get it. Like, I want you to be better, I want you to do better, but today ain't the right day, right? Like, I get it, I get it. But the fact that I've overcame it, I know that you can overcome it. So we're going to understand this process. It's one of those things that I always tell people now. It's like experience based. When you can lead things through experience, people embrace it more, right? Like, and people feel it more, because you're like, man, it's like somebody telling a group of students to read a book but never pick up a book a day in their life, or never like have a routine where they're reading on a continuous basis. So saying, hey, you need to read, but you can't tell me anything about any books that are out there, isn't really bringing me value. But if you're a everyday reader and you speak with knowledge, where I'm like, well, where you get that information from, right? Like that's a different type of experience. That's a different type of way that you can lead, because now people know that you're doing it. So no, like that's the story, right? Like the story that you rose above triumph, you went through these different things, you're still a single mother, you're a business owner now, you're someone that serves freely and empowers women through purpose, right? Like, and I think that story of what you went through is the reason why you empower more people, because yeah, you understand struggle. And so if you can overcome that, then yeah, you're a powerful individual yourself, which I already know that, but at least everybody else get to know that now. So no, thank you for sharing. Um, this is a part where I feel like, at least if you're coming from, I know a lot of people experience certain things in life, but I definitely understand that the Black community experiences it more. And it's death amongst grief, right? Like, and so really just kind of not really going in depth to like your experience with death, but because I think that we don't talk about grief enough. And I've learned that, at least in my last year and a half, that the things that I was grieving over, it was hard because there's not enough transparency in our community for people to even ask you, are you okay? It's kind of like, somebody died today, and we kind of we grieve for a week till the funeral, and then after that it's gone. But you're having those days and those moments. And so kind of just want to ask you, like, how do you, because I know you've experienced things that has been very tragic. So how would you share, like, how do you handle it, and then how do you continue handling it, And what would be your advice to women, right? Like to women on how to be able to to handle it without bottling it in where it takes over you, because grief can take over you, right?
Yeah, for sure. Um, Me handling it, I have some really good friends. They help a lot. What I would say is just let it out. I know it's not. I All my friends call me the crybaby, which I was not always like this. Just so you know, Wesley. But I found like holding it in hurts even more than just letting it out. Some days you may just need to just let it out, and that's okay. And I think that a lot of times people look at that as a weakness and they're like, oh, I need to be tougher than that. Like, it'll be okay. They would want me to be strong. And yeah, that person will want you to be strong. But at the same time, you have to acknowledge your feelings, whatever they are at the moment. Don't sit in them. So don't just sit there and literally spend a whole week crying. But if you need to take an hour or even if you need to even take a whole day, okay, but still have a strategy or a support group or some type of system that can help you get back on track. So even though you may be sad today or right now, like you have to have something to make you smile every day. So whatever that is, you got to hold on to that and make sure it's a part of your daily life. So for me, music helps, that can be a double-edged sword because sometimes music brings back memories and sometimes it brings back good or bad memories. You never know. But music helps, cooking helps because it is a distraction. Cleaning helps me. My saving grace, I'm always going to say, is working out. I know that's different for everybody, but that's what has always helped me get through stuff. And sometimes I get too sad to where I can't even work out. So if I can't do it then, I just be like, okay, well, I might have to sit in the gym parking lot and cry. And then I'll be like, okay, let me go get something to eat and we're going to try again. You really just, like I said, keeping your head above water. You have to just keep swimming like Nemo. I mean, it sounds crazy, but you do. You have to swim, fight through the waves, fight through the current, just keep going.
Ooh, I like that. Swim like Nemo.
You really
Keep
do.
on
It's
swimming. Just keep swimming.
Yeah,
Oh,
and I'm not gonna say it's easy. It's definitely not easy. And don't let anybody belittle your experience, whatever it was, even if it doesn't seem like that was a big of deal to them. Your experience, your emotions, they are valid. You gotta acknowledge them and get people who respect them in your life. If they don't respect them, then you probably might want to avoid those people or kind of cut them out because you do need support around you during those times, even if it's just somebody that's just gonna sit there in silence with you.
mm. Oh, I like that. I like that. Sit there in silence. Oh my God. Like
Well,
some
because
people,
people always want to say something to try to make it better, and it's like sometimes I don't. You don't need that. Sometimes you just need somebody to literally just be there.
so speaking of that, right? Like I like that you said that. And what I'm learning is creating space and being more verbal about that too. Um, like I was telling, I've been doing like some yoga on Wednesdays and doing some breathing stuff and some so I got a little instructor and stuff and we've been working on some things and I was talking about people like, at least for me, because of my line of work, people will throw their grief and trauma on me at times. And sometimes it's a lot for me when I'm going through something already. And they ask me, have I ever just told the individual or whoever, that, you know, at this current moment, I don't have space for it, or at this current moment, like I am willing to create space however you need me, right? Like, and I never thought about it from that way, but it's like setting being more intentional about your time, about your space, about your current healing. Cause like you could wake up and be dealing with some grief and somebody else like, man, listen, da 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 da, like this is what I'm going through. And yes, it's a tragic story, but did you ask me, am I okay today? Right? Like, and I think we all have it bad sometimes because we want to call somebody in and let them just pour on us, like, like, but just wanted to share that, and not saying that you haven't done that, but just wanted to share that as something that I just learned, like in the last, several. It's just being able to be more vocal and tell people like, okay, I need to create space for what you're about to share with me. This isn't the moment for it. And so then it allows one, because we talked about it on some of our calls outside of this, is like boundaries. And it's like, how are we setting better boundaries for ourselves that actually make those around us not feel like they're excluded, but we are also allowing them to know that like, I own this space right now, but it can't, nothing else can come in it. Right. Like,
Yeah.
so just wanted to share that. And going off of that, right, like creating those boundaries and space and just being intentional. um Affirmations, like, do you have like any affirmations or quotes that you live by, that you go by, that you would want to share?
Yeah, I have a daily affirmation. I say it 3 times in a row every day at 2:20 p.m. It's I am rich, I am loved, I am financially abundant.
Hmm. I'm rich, I am loved, I am financially abundant.
Yes. And my tip for that, because I know a lot of people say that they have issues with doing daily affirmations, I set an alarm on my phone. So it's literally a reminder every day at 2:20 that tells me that, and then I have to say it. So it's just easier for me to do it that way because you never know how your day is going to go. So
Yeah.
to have that reminder, and it's like, okay, that brings me back to life every day.
Oh,
And
I
especially having it in the afternoon definitely helps. First thing in the morning is good, but when you halfway through your day, typically that's when the bullshit starts. So it's like, okay, that's my reminder. You all right? Come on, let's get back focused.
hmm. All right, noted, noted, noted. Because I don't think I do a midday reminder. I think I set the tone so much in the mornings that I don't do like a midday affirmation to maybe reset and renew, right? Like, oh, I like that though. So hit a reminder. There's no reason for us to make excuses, right? Like, we got timers and reminders on the phones. We can literally allow ourselves to create the routine and schedule that we want, even if it's speaking affirmations to yourself every day and being consistent with it. I like that. I like
Thank you. I know a little something.
that. You know, I know I referenced reading earlier. Do you do any reading? Is there any books that you like? Anything shaped around material that you would want to share. And it could be something for women, it could be something for everybody. Just, I'm big on reading, and I want to create like a book list through the individuals that I talk to, so that people can know that these are, it's reference. And again, like, that's that experience.
Yes. Right now, I'm not currently reading anything. I would say that. Um, I do most of my reading through audio, and like most of my, so I'm in like my self development phase in my life. I feel like still just trying to get better at everything. So I listen to a lot of self help, a lot of entrepreneurship, a lot of mental health, anything as far as the wellness spectrum is what helps me get through. I do have to be in the right mind frame to even accept the information though. So like typically it seems like Tuesday is the best day for me for whatever reason. But I think that's important to know and acknowledge, what days you receive information the best. And
Mhm.
for some reason it is Tuesday. I don't know. Thursday seems to be my go to shit day. But Tuesday, I'll be on my game, which it may be because that's kind of like my Monday because I take Sundays and Mondays off. So that may be the reason why. The most recent book that I read, I have not read a book since like January. The most recent book I read was, it was Rick Ross's book. I can't think of the name of it. I think he only has one book, which I loved it. It was not, it was an audio book. I did do the audio. It wasn't in his voice, which I would have loved, but it was still very insightful because it was his point of view through the pandemic and how he kind of structured his business and his like estate throughout the business and or throughout the pandemic, and the lessons that he learned, the losses that he took, how he came back from it, and how he learned to pivot and make things better. And I guess it was relatable for me because during the pandemic, I kind of was going through the same thing, on a much smaller scale. I don't have an estate, but just kind of finding purpose of how I can make money at home. Like a lot of people don't know, but I started training at my house. Like I turned my upstairs room into a fitness studio, still have it. And it's like he turned his, what was it? His swimming pool, like the new Coming to America too, that was shot at his estate.
Mm.
So like he did that, and now he has movie contracts with people that want to use his estate. And it's like everybody, he said, bashed him like, why would you buy this big old thing? We're about to go through a pandemic. You might want to sell, but now he has a garden on the land. Now he has, a big garage where he's able to store his cars for the car shows that he does. And it's just like trying to find, I guess, the silver lining in the space that you have.
Mm.
Like you may think it's wasted space or you wasted money, but you got to find a purpose in everything. So I think that's what really related me to the book. And also he caught COVID too. So he talked about the experience too of being down for some time and just feeling like, is this it? And that kind of sparked his health journey from him starting to get into the weight loss and stuff like that. So it was
Oh.
just really good for me. Those are my favorite type of books, are something that is relatable. And also, maybe it was better received because he is from, the inner city in his city.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe it was easier for me to relate to from that perspective because he kind of talked about that as well. So I would recommend that book. And then Tabitha Brown, I think it's called Feed the Soul. That's
Oh,
hands
Tabitha, right?
That's hands down one of the best books I read last year. And I read
Really?
a lot of books last year, but hers, you would think that it's gonna be just about a vegan life, but it is so much more. And it's hard to talk about it without giving it away because
Yeah.
it really is that good. So I recommend anybody, man, woman, anybody to read that book. Her basically is keep swimming is the thing that will get you through in that book is basically her message. It's like no matter
Oh,
what it look like, how long it takes, keep going because what is for you is for you. It's gonna be there regardless. You just gotta make sure you in position to get it.
I like that. Okay. What is for you is for you. No, good, good, good. All right. Rick Ross book is something that I definitely feel like I relate to. I love that book. So as we kind of steer closer to the end, um, like do all right, and this is completely just off, everything. Um, just because I'm just curious, like I'm a person that believes in like manifestation and really
Oh,
speaking things into existence, and so just wanted to know, like, you know, is that is that something that you practice in a sense, and do you have you seen success and been able to speak things and see that appear into your life?
absolutely. I like to self-proclaim myself a master manifester. um, Real shit though, with manifestation, like it took me a long time to figure out, I guess, necessarily how to unlock it, but it truly is like believing without a doubt that this is fact. Like when you write something down, you have to just leave it alone. Like, okay, like almost like when you put a cake in the oven, you know for a fact it's gonna bake as long as the oven's working. So that's the way that I look at manifestation. I just put it in the oven, wait till the timer go off, and we're there every
Mm.
single time. Now, what I will say is that I need to work on doing that on a bigger scale because my manifestations, as far as the bigger scale, sometimes I mean it's natural. We have self-doubt and think like, nah, that'll never happen for me. But then I start to see it happen for other people. And then that's when I have to kind of check myself and look at my environment and make sure that it's a healthy one, because once those self-doubts come in, it's typically because I'm in the wrong environment. So yeah, I definitely believe in manifestation, and I've seen it happen for me. I wrote down the whole Body Love business plan in 2019 when I was still working my job before I even knew what Body Love was. Didn't even have a name for it. I mean, down to the T, and it completely manifested in less than a year.
Oh, I love
So,
that.
so
That's
yeah,
what's
I
up.
will say I believe in it.
No, that's what's up. So, I know we touch bases on like the inspiration and things behind your business, and I kind of got a backstory of you, but what services and things do you actually provide, just so people can know, and like how can they find you if they wanted to, book you for your services that you provide?
Well, I have a website. Um, the services I provide right now, I'm completely virtual, which I absolutely love. So please don't ask for in person. But I offer virtual training sessions Tuesday through Friday or Saturday. Yeah, Tuesday through Saturday. Monday, we also have a virtual mental health mindset session every Monday with my ladies. It's just kind of an overall women's wellness coaching program at this point. So we touch physical, mental, emotional health, nutrition. We pretty much touch everything, which I do have a challenge starting tomorrow. If anybody wants to sign up, it is the Better Challenge. So we're eating better, doing better, feeling better, becoming the best version of yourself. Um, and I do challenges just about every month. If you want to sign up, you can either go through my link, which is on IG, BodyLove_KC, or you can go directly to my site, BodyLoveKC.com.
Cool. All right. Yeah, I heard it. BodyLoveKC.com, and BodyLoveKC, right? On social.
BodyLove_KC.
BodyLove_KC. So don't ask me where it is. No, we'll make sure that we put it in like all the notes and stuff. And of course, Bella, right? Like I always got to make sure that Bella is existent in the conversation. So
You ain't gonna let it go.
not at all, not at all. So I think I want to close it with, of course, final words that you would like to leave for anybody, that is in whatever scope. I'll leave that up to you on what you want to leave for people. But before that, let's speak on like feeding yourself, because you spoke about Tabitha Brown, like, and we talked about like the books and things, but like how do you nourish your body with like foods, and like why do you choose that particular direction?
Okay. Well, since you say that, I'm a vegetarian, 5 years in July. I chose that particular path, which, let's be clear, I grew up a meat eater, eating pork. I didn't do chitlins, but pork chops, ribs, anything you could think of. Church's chicken was my fave. So definitely was a meat eater. It's not anything
Churches is
that.
a hood favorite. I'm just gonna put that there. Churches is a hood favorite. We all love churches.
And I used to tear the dirty bird down. So, so the reason why I started that particularly, never ever thought I would, but the way that I felt once I gave up meat, well, what inspired me to try to cut back on meat is crazy. Just a random little post on Instagram one day, meatless Mondays. I was like, oh, I could do that. Let me try that. And it was basically to try to incorporate more vegetables in my diet. So I started with meatless Mondays, and I started noticing more and more how I was kind of like stopped eating meat. Like it came down to where it was only like 2 times a week, maybe 1 time a week. Maybe I might go 2 weeks without eating it. And I started to also notice how much better I felt. Like I felt lighter, I had more energy. What took the cake for me though to commit to this lifestyle is my menstrual cycle. Like I have always had, which you probably don't want to hear about this, but I always had the worst periods of my life from the very first one. I mean, the very first one, I thought I was dying. Which turns out is endometriosis, is what it is, which is a pretty common condition. Again, most I hear that it's stronger in Black women. I don't know. I haven't done the research, but it's basically where you have like heavy flow, unbearable cramps, extreme fatigue. Like literally, people should be able to get off work for it because it truly does feel like you're dying. Like it really does. I noticed that when I stopped consuming so much meat, the intensity of that like dropped probably by no lie
Mhm.
85%.
Oh wow.
And that was enough for me right there to be like, yep, I'm never doing that again. Because if you know something is, in this case, it does not kill you, it's not a disease that's going to kill you, it's nothing like that, it's just a condition. But if you know something feels like death and you go, without feeling that, why in the hell would you ever go back? Like, that's just, to me, would be crazy. So yeah, that was the final touch for me. I've just recently started incorporating like meat substitutes here and there at year 4, which that can be hit or miss. But I don't know. I just feel so much better being a vegetarian. It is really like I have to go out of my way to eat bad and eat unhealthy. And I do have to go out of my way to find better options when I'm out. So it motivates me to cook at home more. It motivates me to make better choices and just overall eat healthier and cleaner. So I
Mhm.
love it. My daughter is not a vegetarian, just in case y'all was wondering. She's not with it. But since I'm a vegetarian, she does eat vegetarian meals a lot more. She eats a lot more vegetables than she ever did before. And she's actually starting to like my food now.
Okay. See, that's you got to be the example. Be the change we wish to see in the world, right?
For real. Yeah.
So yeah, so thank you for really taking your time and chatting with me. I love that you have, a place that you could be able to be transparent and share your story and just let people know not only what you're doing, but the passion behind it and the reason why you're doing it. And I hope people really listen and gravitate to it and be able to reach out and know that they have a brand that really speaks to them and wants to see them have a better quality of life overall. So like, yeah, final words, final thoughts, what would you want to leave to the people?
What I want to leave to the people is don't ever think that you can't do anything. Like literally anything in this world you want to do, you can do it. You just have to believe that you can do it. Even something as simple as tying your shoes, like you can do it. I never thought I'd be a vegetarian. I never thought I would eat healthy. I never thought I would like fitness or exercise, and that's literally my life. So anything that you think you can't do, I promise you, you can do it.
Mm. Yeah, well, you know what? That's how we'll end this. And again, yeah, it's just been amazing to get your story out there. I've known it, but more people need to hear it, and I'm just grateful for that. So, thank everybody
Thank
for
you.
watching, and we'll share Christina's information and all of that good stuff. So, um, yeah, deuces.